Well, y'all, it's Dan. I'm at home in the sticks. Hope everybody's doing well and okay. I had a friend of mine asked me to do a video on my water catchment system that I put in place. It's what I use to pretty much water all my plants and my vegetables and everything that I have growing out here in the sticks, you know, in the stick garden. So let me show you what I'm doing. So here you go, Sway. Alright, y'all, this is the first rain catchment system that I put in place several months ago. It is 4 55-gallon barrels, plastic barrels of course, that are plumbed together in unison. The gist of it is, when the water enters this barrel right here, I'm gonna get to it sooner or later, right here, all four of these barrels will fill up equally. They'll all fill up equally. They're pretty full right now. I am catching the water off of my shack, which is, I want to say 16 foot long. I don't know what the square foot of this roof, what the roof is on this shack, but it'll catch it from there. It'll collect water from there, and it'll run all the way down to that flexible downspout, and it'll enter here, go there, and then into here. So let me explain to you what into here and go down there and over here is. Off of that flexible spout is a 4-inch to 2-inch fitting, and all of this pipe is 2-inch. Everything is plumbed in 2-inch going into the tanks, and down here this is all 3/4 with a ball valve and just something I put together to fill my watering buckets up, or my hand waterers and whatnot. But when I first put this system in, I didn't think on it as much as I should have. Thus all of these plates that I had to put on there, because I moved some stuff around, and I actually should have done a little bit more research before well, not research, but I should have thought about it a little bit better. But the water comes down through that flexible spout into that 4-inch to 2-inch, and then it hits this piece of 4-inch pipe. And what that is called is a first flush rain diverter. What it does is, when it starts raining, approximately, let's see, this is a 4-inch pipe, and it's approximately 4 foot in length. And according to my research and what I've read, for every foot of this 4-inch pipe, every foot will hold approximately 1.3 gallons of water. So we'll just, for shoots and giggles, we'll just say it holds 5 gallons of water. So what it does is, when it first starts to rain, the first 5 gallons of water that washes off of this roof is collected here into this 4-inch pipe, and it's got a 4-inch clean out on it. If you notice, let me get back here and see if I can get y'all a close-up. Well, it's sunny out here today, y'all. If you look up on top of that roof, you notice that there's a lot of pollen A lot of pollen, and might have some bird poop up there and leaves that have fallen on the roof. What happens is that first flush of water, 5 gallons or so, will enter this 4-inch pipe and get stored. And I'll have to get a tool to take this off. I don't know if it'll come off by hand. I don't think it will. I have to get a pair of pliers or something to take it off. But actually, I might be able to show you on the other one when we get to it. But actually, there is a wiffle ball in the inside of this pipe. And what happens is, as this 4-inch pipe fills up with water, that wiffle ball will slowly climb and block off this 2-inch to 4-inch fitting. And what happens is, once it's blocked off, all of the clean rainwater, supposedly, will then travel here and down into these barrels. Now, I have an array of fittings on this thing. Everything's pretty much 2-inch to 4-inch. It's 2-inch to 4-inch. And if I take this off, if I can take this off, might be able to take it off. Oh, no, part of it. Let's see. Well, let's see here. Well, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. See, it's 2-inch to 4-inch, and this is a 2-inch. I want to say this is that fitting right there is a 2-inch to 3-inch fitting, which I actually drilled I want to say a 2-inch hole here, and this is 3 inches. And this 4-inch fitting will slide directly on top of it to seal it up. And as if you notice, I have cloth in here, or a filter in here, and there's actually another filter underneath it. I hope y'all can make that out. And you'll notice up at the top, what's that brown stuff hanging out there? Those are actually a cheap pair of women's hosiery, like hoses or something like that, and it acts as a filter also. And inside of that 4-inch pipe, I'm sure you can see it, I actually have a filter in there as well. So it's being filtered 1, 2, 3, 4 ways. It works out really good. Before I put that first flush diverter in there, when the water hit these tanks and I actually opened it up to look inside of it, there was a lot of pollen and yellow slimy stuff, and it was all from the wash coming off the roof, and there was just no way for it to filter before it actually hit the tanks. So once I redid this and put that first flush diverter in, I was getting all that pollen and bird poop and leaves, and all that stuff was ending up in these tanks. But now I don't have so much of that problem anymore. You get just a minute amount that'll actually get in those barrels like that, but you know, it's okay. It's nothing to fret about. I gotta seal that again. But anyway, the important notes on these, the important thing to remember on these on a water catchment system is you have to vent these tanks somehow. And all this is a 1/4-inch barb fitting with some netting put over it and a zip tie. So whenever I drain them, they'll have a way to vent. And when they fill up, they'll also have a way to vent. And all it is this netting right here. It's kind of like a screen, maybe. Sort of like this stuff right here. But I had a bunch of this laying around, so I just used it. Another thing that you have to do is you have to put an overflow on these tanks. Once it hits its limit, the water's got to go someplace. So I actually put a 3/4-inch overflow on it with a screen and a zip tie to cover up this hole, so no bugs or insects or anything like that get in the tank. and that's how it's ran. Once I did this one, I used up the water pretty quickly. It's 210 gallons if I'm not mistaken. 55 is 110, so 220. I used up the water pretty quickly, watering everything. Another thing, if you decide to put up a water catchment system, you have to make sure that it's really level, so these barrels will fill up evenly. We spent a bunch of time leveling this thing up, and it's 4x4s with 2x6s and some pressure treated 2x4s down at the bottom. And it's approximately, I want to say 24 inches off the ground. I have to get a tape measure and measure it because I can't remember. But the head pressure on this thing is crazy. I'll crack it open for you. I don't like wasting water, but just wanted to give y'all a little look at the head pressure on it. Basically, the higher you go up, the greater your head pressure is going to be. This thing, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we'll try to do it. Let's see if I can get you a shot of underneath of how it's plumbed. Each one of these things has a bung hole. And let's see. That's how it's ran. And this one actually has a leak. The bung holes on the bottom, these barrels are actually upside down. Each barrel has 2 bung holes. I don't know the exact names of the threads, but I just call it fine thread and coarse thread. If you buy these barrels, whoever you get them from, you need to make sure that the caps or the bungs are correct. That you have one bung that is fine thread and one bung that is coarse thread. I want to say that the coarse thread bung has an insert in the middle of it. If you take a screwdriver and a hammer and you knock that insert in the middle out, it has 3/4 inch threads in it. So you could actually get you a 3/4 inch to 3/4 inch slip, screw it in, and then you can insert your 3/4 inch pipe into that, and you could run your plumbing. It's pretty easy. The parts can be confusing sometimes because they confused me there for a minute, but this was the first system that I built. Then I put this system into place because I wanted more water. It is actually set up somewhat similar to the other one, but just on it holds a little bit more water. Let's see, boy, the sun's out pretty bad. As you can see, it's run into my gutter system. Flexible spout into a first flush diverter, over and down into these IBCs. All of these, I'll tell you right now that these IBCs, there's probably, I want to say 8 or 9, maybe 10 different spigots, I guess you want to call it maybe, or shut-off valves. There's 8 or 9 different ones, so you have to, once you get your IBC, you have to pretty much figure out which one that you have in order to be able to go from the shut-off valve into your pipe. All I'm using is a 2-inch compression fitting here, and I'm running 2-inch all the way around into this one, and I have it capped off just in case I add, which eventually I will add another IBC there, but and then I go from 3 1/4, from 2-inch to 3/4 with a ball valve and the same turn thing to fill up my my waterers. The overflow on this one's kind of jacked up. I have to work on it a little bit. It's just there temporarily. Once these things fill up, we'll actually hit here and just come over and drain off here, and I have some netting so nothing crawls up in there. See, it needs to be brought up. I don't have this glued into place yet because I'm still working on it. But these IBCs will hold 250 gallons of liquid, and I want to say from here to here might be another 25 or maybe 50 gallons. I'm not really sure. We'll just call it 300 gallons. And let's see. Let me see if I can show you what I was talking about on these cleanouts. Oh yeah, this one's leaking a little bit. I don't think it rained anytime soon. I hope I don't get wet. I'm staying. Whoop. There we go. Must have had some rain. Wow, that's weird. Anyway, the first amount of rain, or a little bit of rain that comes down, it's gonna fill up about 5 or 6 gallons. Are gonna end up in here, and that's gonna be your first flush. Wow, I didn't think it rained again. Oh yeah, well, it must have had. By the way, I'm trying to think up a way to actually put some type of shut off on here with a hose that I could hook onto that hose, and I could actually collect this water that's in here and use it in my garden somewhere instead of letting it fall on the ground. I'm working on that. Oops, excuse me, finger was in the way. Let's see if we can get this thing to drain off. Oop, there we go, drained off. All right, and there is the wiffle ball / baseball. Now, as you can see, there's a awful amount of crap that's in there, and what that is the water, that first 5 or 6 gallons of water that came off my shop, on my lean-to on my shop, ended up in there. So the theory is, once again, that ball will rise up, hit that 2-inch, block it off, and the rest of the water will be diverted into the tanks. Allegedly clean water. But the area of my shop is, I want to say it is 24 feet long, and I want to say 28 feet. The dimensions from there to there are 24 feet long, and from here that way is 24 feet long. So I think I calculated 480 square feet is what I'm actually collecting off of this system right here. As far as the first flush, from what I have read, 1,000 square foot roof will require at least 2 of those, maybe 3. When I say those, I mean these right here. Will require 2 or 3 of them, because a 1,000-foot roof requires 10 gallons of first flush, or requires 10 gallons. It's required to catch 10 gallons of water before you start putting the clean water into your tanks. This is a little bit overkill because it's only 450, 80 some odd square feet. So this is plenty enough, and it works really well. And of course, if you see here, I actually have the hosiery in there, and I have a filter, screening filter up there. So I'm filtering the water pretty good, and it's working out pretty good. Let's see. On another note, also, if you decide to go with IBCs, I encourage everybody to either wrap them in plastic, black plastic, or paint them. This is just Krylon that I spray painted them with. What that does is, if you have an IBC tank that is clear, within a couple of months, and it starts filling up with water, within a couple of months you're going to start seeing algae show up in your IBCs, and that's not good. Because what's going to happen is the algae is going to end up sooner or later clogging up all your pipe work, and eventually you're going to have to take it apart and clean it. So the easiest thing to do is to not let the algae grow in there. So either paint it black or get you some 6mm plastic if you can, and you wrap these tanks up, and that'll stop the algae from growing in them. What I did on this one was, before I painted it, I put a black piece of painter's tape all the way down, painted it, and then I took the tape off just so I could monitor how much water is actually in these tanks. And this one's actually full, and it works off the same premise as the blue barrels. As this one fills up, this one's going to fill up equally. So it's kind of important to make sure that when you put your tanks in, that everything is level, and then these tanks theoretically should fill up together. So here's a quick look at how it's plumbed in. I'm just going straight on to the shutoff with a 3-inch thread to a slip, and then I'm just using regular 2-inch piping, PVC. And this is Schedule 40 stuff. What I need to do next time is, instead of going with Schedule 40, I'm just going to use the stuff that's not pressure rated. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than the Schedule 40 stuff. Same thing with that first flow. That's a Schedule 40 4-inch piece of pipe. It could be rather expensive. I had a bunch of it laying around, so I just used what I had laying around. Another quick little tip is, wow, how do you vent these tanks? Well, if you notice, that lid's not on there it's not screwed down real tight. So these tanks will vent with this lid being unscrewed a little bit, and it works out pretty good. I haven't had any issues thus far. But my whole intention, or my goal, or what I want to do, hey Brody, is I want to get 1,200 gallons of rainwater on hand stored here at our shop in the sticks. It's free. It comes out of the sky. It's good for your plants. It's good for everything. Now keep in mind, this is not potable water. This isn't stuff that you could just put a glass underneath there and drink. I guess if you're thirsty, you could if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. And another thing that I want to do is, once I get everything set into place, I'm going to use my Orbit irrigation system. I'm going to plumb it into my watering tanks. So instead of me using, right now, just because we don't have a lot of stuff in the ground, I hand water a lot of stuff with that. I think you see me in one of my other videos using this thing to water everything, and it's basically because we don't have, just a tremendous amount of stuff in the ground yet. But once we get our maters start growing and getting to where they want to be, then I'll plumb this system in, and that should be more than enough water to water everything for X amount of months, and that's fine. What I'm trying to do is not use county water. I want to use the free water out of the sky. Saves a little bit of money, and it's a lot better for the plants. Hey Jingles, the phantom pooper cat. So anyway, y'all, that is a quick little video to show you how I set up my rain catchment system and briefly how it works. I hope this video will help a few people. Swade, I'm sure you're gonna want to hook a system up over at your house because you have a huge in-the-sticks garden. We're going to get some video on that too, y'all, by the way. But I hope this video helps somebody else that may want to put a water catchment system in place. It's relatively easy to do. Sometimes you can find the IBCs rather cheap, sometimes on Craigslist, or if you know somebody that may work for a lumber yard or something like that. I will say that if you get an IBC, you want to try to get one that is food grade, or something that had food product in it, being soy sauce, sugar water, sugar, something like that. Those two IBCs over there had soap in them, so that is considered food grade also. You just have to wash them out really well, and it takes a little bit of time to wash them out, and it also takes a little time to cryle on them, spray paint them. But in the end, it's a wise investment, and it's gonna help your plants grow a lot better because it's non-chlorinated water. So, with that being said, again, I hope y'all like this video. If you have any questions, drop them down there, and if I know the answer, I'll tell you. But if I don't, I sure will try to get the answer for you. So, again, with that being said, y'all, it's not about what you can get, but it's definitely about what you can give. So we'll see you on the next video.